So what do you do if you're unlucky, can't find a good VSO, and you don't have a lot of time to educate yourself? You still probably don't know me. My name is Mark, and I'm a disabled vet. I have all the disability benefits I believe I deserve. It took me 7 years and about $100,000 worth of lost, unrealized benefit. Learned a lot of things and made a bunch of mistakes, so you don't have to. But since then, I've helped hundreds of veterans win their VA disability claims, and I'm hoping that I can help you as well. So today, in the VA Disability Verse, we're going to be talking about the decisions that you need to wrestle with if you're one of those unfortunate souls like I was, who had no luck up front with the free service. The sooner you come to terms with one of these 4 things, the better off you'll be, and the less chance you're going to end up as a sad story in a social media. And it doesn't make me happy that's a thing. You know, I'm kind of bringing it up as a meme, but those vets that have been fighting for decades, usually there's something going on in their strategy. For most vets, it shouldn't be that way. The vets probably don't have the education. Which brings me to the first thing that I want to talk about, is if you're not having any luck with the free services, you probably need to increase your education regardless of the route you're going to use, whether it's free or paid. And the reason is, you go with the free service the first time and you expect the VA to do all the work for you. That's not an unrealistic expectation, being a vet and having served the country. That's something that we all think is right. They should do that. But the truth is, this is hard for some people to swallow, but you already know it. Deep down, you kind of know this is already a thing. You wouldn't be watching this video if you weren't suffering through your claim and didn't have an inkling that the VA can't give you the service that you deserve. It can only give you the service that its budget, systems, and workforce can provide for you. And the sooner that you can come to terms with that, the sooner you can get to work and get educated and not have to submit the same claim with the same strategy, with the same everything that's not getting you any results. You have to increase your education so that if you utilize a free service, you're at least making adjustments. So you're trying stuff. You're getting closer to success. If you're the vet that's just going to keep rolling the dice with a VSO using the same thing over and over, it can kind of feel like ramming a square peg into a circular or star-shaped hole. It might work, but after a while, and that's just what causes a lot of bitterness in this process. But first decision is education. The more you have, the less pain you'll experience, and the more you'll be able to help yourself. Now, keep in mind, like I said last time, it's probably a good investment to buy something cheap early, so you can just get your feet wet and just get a lay of the land. It's like you're looking at a map. You're not dialing down to a 6 or 8 digit grid square. You're just looking at the map for what it is. Like, okay, what's the terrain like here? Can I navigate this, or do I need help? Is it passable for me? And you know, when you buy the cheap course, you take less risk. I'm not going to get too deep into that because I talked about it last video. What I will say though is the second decision you have to wrestle with is, do you want to keep using the VSO or the free option, yourself included? Because when you use a VSO, a lot of times they submit the claim for you. The good VSOs will tell you what to do. The bad ones will just kind of push some buttons for you and make you feel good. Now, I'm not saying that VSO is a bad person. I'm just saying that that does happen. Happened to me a couple of times. I can't leave everything in the hands of the VSO. That's crazy. And you know, if you want that way, congratulations. But not all of us are that fortunate. So we have to adjust our plan. And so if you're going to use the VSO, make sure you're doing that, because the third decision that I'm going to talk about next is controversial. And it's, hey, you should run the math on whether it's worth it to quit. And I'm not telling you that because I want you to be a quitter. It's more that if you can't find a good VSO and you can't get an education, you might want to invest your time in something that's going to give you a better lifetime return. Because when you keep losing your claim, when you keep going with a VSO for free and you're not really adjusting your strategy, you're in a casino and the odds are like not in your favor. The house is going to win over 60% of the time, and the odds are worse if your claim is worse. Like, you didn't really submit anything to make your claim stronger. So it might be worth it to just ask yourself some serious questions like, can I double down on something else in my life that's going to provide health care, good mental health, and a better future for my family? Because what you don't want is for the VA to just live rent-free in your brain every time you lose. Like, that's horrible. And that's what happens. You know, like, that's what happens when vets lose. They get mad at the VA. You got to realize that if you're in this situation, you know, you have to change things up, or maybe you should just quit. It's hard to say that because I don't want you to quit, but I also don't want you to lose for 30 years when you can be a millionaire doing something else. And which leads me to the last decision that you need to wrestle with. And a lot of vets make this transition much later, and that's, should you use a paid service? That is a legitimate option. If you don't have the time, if you're not willing to get the education, if you can't find a good VSO, well, you know, you have options to pay somebody to help you. Now, there's a couple things here. This is an option that a lot of veterans despise, and I understand. So hear me out. I would say that you would have to ask yourself a couple questions before you go down this route. And the first question is, this is a little bit of a mind bender, but is the free service still free for me? It's a little bit of a riddle, but think about that. In my story, when I ran the math, I actually lost money utilizing the free service. Look, I knew I had something, right? And that's what I'm talking to. If you know you have a disability and you deserve it and that your claim is winnable, and you're not winning with the free service, that free service stops becoming free because, well, each year that goes by, you have unrealized benefit that you're losing. In my case, it was about 5 years. I lost about $100,000. When you look at it that way, the free service is no longer free. It's a little bit of a mind bender. That might piss some people off. It is what it is. But when you look at it objectively, well, maybe that makes sense. So that's the first question I'd ask. Is the free service still free? And if the answer is no, then it's just might be time to consider a paid service. But then the second question that you need to ask, the second one, is what's this company or person's fee structure? If a company is asking you for a ton of money up front, I don't know, that's a little sketchy to me, because there are a lot of companies like mine that will charge you on the back end only when you win, and with money you didn't have prior to using the service. So that's a little bit of a mind bender, right? Like, a free service stops being free, and then a paid service can actually be cheaper than a free service. You might get mad at me. It is what it is. I'm just a dude on the internet. You can do what you want. I'm not telling you to use a paid service. I'm just telling you to run some math in your head and figure out what the best decision for you is going to be, and go with that. Right, go with that. I lost about $100,000 with the free service, and if I had used the paid one, I would have paid $8,000 up front, but then I would have not had to deal with my VA problem anymore, and I would have made a lot more money having paid a service than not paying a service. And really, it wasn't just about the money. Like, I had disabilities that were getting worse, could have used some health care, I couldn't afford it, and the VA wouldn't have lived rent-free in my head for so long. So, you know, run the math, do the calculations, figure out what's best for you. So everyone's experience is different, and if you can win your claim for free, you should. So I run a company, but you heard it from me. You should do that if you can, but not everyone's fortunate. Everyone's situation is different. Everyone's journey is different. So it's always a good day when a veteran wins their claim, and you know, you have to struggle with one of these 4 decisions if you're not having any luck with the free services. So that's all I have for you guys today. In my next videos, I'm probably going to start the free curated course that I want to give to you all. And you know, if you're finding value from these videos and these ideas that I'm sharing with you, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, tell your friends, and stay tuned. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.